Hamilton's first take a look at with Ferrari is formally underway, due to the fact the Brits has taken the F175 out in Fano, in what is meant to be determined by using the use of a pressure of the SF23 as well. Each events waste no time inside. The device of integration and reading every specific with the auto as a good deal as they're able to, however with LAR being a severe chance to Hamilton's 8th championship. How will these checks assist Lewis in the war? It genuinely is looking beforehand to him, and more importantly, can he get higher from the bad spell he had with Mercedes within the beyond? Couple of years, one of the outstanding topics that take vicinity inside the Formula One International is the arrival of Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, and now he's officially riding machinery, produced with the beneficial useful resource of the Maranello Institution on their non-public tune in Fano. This is the day they've been awaiting for 365 days ever, due to the fact Lewis introduced that he can be joining the crew earlier than even attempting out the auto that Mercedes made for the 2024 season. The primary laps can be with the F175, and after that it is supposed to get replaced with the 2023 Challenger or the SF23 Hamilton. However, won't be the handiest one to electricity. The automobile as LIR is likewise scheduled for a few runs. As nicely, however, they'll be with a extremely good deal less importance for him, as he is driven entire seasons with the one's cars, and there isn't masses he may additionally moreover want to extract from them that he does no longer already understand proper now for Hamilton. But driving a Ferrari vehicle is the pinnacle of the adventure, and although it's not the SF24 or a prototype of the Challenge 677, which remains too early to do it, is a first-rate base to start his integration method ever. Whilst you recall that he arrived in Maranello, it turned into obvious that Hamilton might be greeted with hundreds of exertions, and the handiest that he won't be the happiest, approximately changed into the simulator artwork. But it's far one he desires to do on the way to get accommodated to certain matters which incorporates the steerage wheel. Of the auto, what Hamilton wants to recognize as early as feasible is that there are elements of the car and his regular ordinary overall performance that he desires to artwork on. In particular, the only lap ordinary overall performance in which he lacked hundreds compared to Russell in the previous couple of years. Consequently, he's probably pressured into trying to enhance this section of his. Using it, truly, is a few issue that we are very glad to pay interest as it'd simply deliver towards a extra exciting season in advance, folks. And luckily for Hamilton, this isn't the only take a look at that Ferrari has scheduled for him. There's a file that shows that the Maranello organization has rented out the Barcelona circuit over a 3-day length someplace for the duration of the preseason, trying out in Bahrain, which could supply Hamilton around 1.00 kilometers of using below the TPC hints. However, the current check in Fano is helpful from a few different mindset, as properly he receives to recognize his race engineer higher and used to his voice continuously in his ear. This might be a chunk tough for Hamilton expertise that he had Bono due to the fact the angel sitting on his shoulder for a totally prolonged term, and it is obvious that it would make the effort to adjust to those forms of things. But the fantastic notes coming from Vettel concerning the offerings of the Italian engineer are honestly something that Hamilton had in thoughts earlier than figuring out whether or not this detail should exchange in Ferrari. It is also exciting to word that earlier than the primary check, or earlier than Hamilton even formally have, turn out to be a Ferrari F1 driving force. He made high-quality requests after discreet visits to the Maranello factory, and one of those requests have emerged as to pull decrease lower back the seating a hint bit. This would advantage him masses due to the truth with Mercedes. He typically felt like he emerges sitting at the front tires. However, it is a chunk far-fetched to trust that this single change goes to carry lots of average performance to Hamilton's car. It is truly great tuning to perfection, as he cannot depart a few issue to risk. And the finest part of this is the fact that Hamilton may have lots of disturbing situations that he's going to address down, and he might not have any room for mistakes. Hamilton being Hamilton, you'll assume the expectations are very excessive, and with which you might furthermore assume that any mistake, or any dropout of Q1 or Q2 at the identical time as Liar might be stopping for, and the front row is going to be scrutinized masses on top of that. The 7-time global champion may also need to display to the whole global Ralph Schumacher mainly that he is aware about what it takes on the way to construct a championship-prevailing vehicle. Some trouble that the brother of the opportunity 7-time global champion rather doubts. But the adventure has, in reality, started out, and we are proper right here to peer it all, starting from the primary test in Fano, and ending all of the manner with the preseason test in Bahrain. Earlier than Hamilton may additionally have the #1 challenge on his arms on 16th of March in Australia. Key regions that Lewis will probably paintings on are going to be the feedback furnished to his race engineer about the conduct of the auto, the comments supplied to the engineers who are going for walks in the decrease, return of closed doorways in Maranello, in addition to the communication with ADDHY part of the visits in Maranello that I hold mentioning during the video worried a meet and greet, along with his new race engineer, which ought to help him masses if he wants to tackle down Leclerc as early as possible, whether or not we find it impossible to resist or not. Hamilton is getting into Ferrari due to the fact the underdog, because of Leclerc's experience with the institution. However, with the 2025 automobile being a 99% new task, it's miles going to be exciting to look how those drivers will adapt to the car manifestly. There is a few trouble that wants to alternate for Ferrari to dethrone McLaren from the top of the table, and inclusive of how into that equation is through a long way the most crucial factor that they may have performed concerning the heading inside the right path, picks a large resource for Hamilton will truly be Lo Serra, who's serving the location of chassis technical director in Ferrari due to the reality he modified into the first departure from Mercedes' immoderate profile human beings on the same time, because the group decided to paste with the zero-pod design. This tips that he and Hamilton may understand some aspect that we do not, and every way we're all of the manner, right down to see how this duo will pan out at the map. Considering that Hamilton's comments in Mercedes within the beyond couple of years wasn't listened to all that plenty as a result, the horrific consequences, but now all of it appears very precise, and that may be discovered via Hamilton's posts on Instagram that have been bilingual in Italian, in English, and that shows some brilliant self-discipline that he's geared up to be regular as component of Ferrari's circle of relatives, and that he's coming right here as an splendid friend, now not as an enemy, to top that off. Hamilton attempted off his Italian in the front of Vigneer and the Italian media, and it's miles. Solid to mention that he will observe the footsteps of Liar and signs and symptoms, with reference to addressing the Ferrari-associated shops in their nearby language. The Tifosi might also have a bittersweet feeling if he is the following champion for Ferrari and not Liar, and if he's taking down Michael Schumacher's file using the car of the organization, that the German as fast as used Tonergy. However of path, it's miles a circle of existence. And as Hamilton stated, I constantly dreamed of driving in crimson whilst addressing the primary day in Maranello. The Brit wrote, Day 1. I'm grateful to John Elkanvig and Vor for their trusting me and making me part of this family. I so excited to begin this new era, and to meet and work with a reasonably proficient and provoking company of people who have been so welcoming. I am devoted to bringing the whole thing I have to deliver for the institution, the wider business enterprise, and the fans of route. We have to no longer forget approximately the fact that Hamilton brought one in each of his closest allies in Mercedes, Angela Cullen, with whom he worked from 2016, all the manner through until 2023, at the same time as Angela determined to take every different direction in her profession, no matter the reality that now that each are out of Mercedes, they've got determined to sign up for forces again, right here in Ferrari, as Angela is now a part of the project. 44. With Hamilton, having now not something, however wonderful words for the New Zealander explaining her effect on his expert lifestyles, the 7-time worldwide champion said humans for high quality won't recognize it clearly due to the truth they see it from a distance. However, she has been one of the first-rate things that has happened to me in my lifestyles. I've been lucky to artwork with an entire lot of humans, and she or he or he or he's the unmarried hardest on foot girl that I get to be round. She is focused and selfless, and she or he makes my weekends peaceful each day. I wake up a few component time. She is simply effective in no way. A unmarried day. Has she been terrible? So, that is very, very vital with all this in thoughts. Do you believe you studied that Hamilton's tenure with Ferrari will run very without problems and additional? Importantly, do you found that there may be a situation wherein he is going to reveal to the relaxation of the world that he failed to win 7 championships through success? Allow us to understand. Inside the remarks under. And as soon as you have completed which have a look at the video. It definitely is acting to your display proper now.